Hello everybody, my name is Hayden and welcome to my channel. I'm a full-time software engineer based in London, and if you're new here, I make videos documenting my coding projects. In this video, I'm going to make you a more productive developer by showing you some PyCharm shortcuts. This video was actually requested by a friend of mine who's been watching my channel and noticed some of the shortcuts that I've been doing. His links are in the description below of his Instagram and other social media accounts. Do check him out. He was previously a designer and he's now converted to be a software engineer. Now let's jump over to PyCharm and rattle through these shortcuts. So the first shortcut I want to show you is rerunning your last script in debug mode. So obviously you can come down here, right click and do this, or if you click on the script, Shift F9 and it will rerun that last script for you. Shortcut number 2 is, let's say you want to put a breakpoint, you can go up to the line on there and do Control F8, which will set a breakpoint, and then use Shift F9 again, and that will breakpoint there, and you can go in and you can debug what's going on. The next keyboard shortcut I want to show you is abstracting code out as a variable. So click the code you want to abstract out, Control Alt V, select the expression that you want, and let's call this output. And there we go, we've just abstracted an entire variable out. The next keyboard shortcut is similar to the last one, but rather than extracting out a variable, you can extract out an entire method. So Control Alt M extracts this out, and let's call this is software engineer Hayden, and that will abstract it out as its own function or method now. The next keyboard shortcut is abstracting stuff out as a constant. So very similar to the last ones, it's Control Alt C, and we can abstract this out to software engineer Hayden, and you can see that's gone to the top of our script now as a constant. The next keyboard shortcut is the Refactor keyboard shortcut, which is actually my most commonly used one. So you can do this in multiple places. You can click on a variable, do Shift F6 and rename that variable. You can also come here and rename functions. If I do Shift F6 again, and let's call this func this time, and you can see it will say, do you want to refactor all these? So do refactor, and you can see it's changed that and that. It would search your entire project and refactor all the times it can find that function for you. Super useful. You can do this on classes, variables and methods. So the next keyboard shortcut is not necessarily a keyboard shortcut, but it's a way for you to learn keyboard shortcuts. If you come up here, go File, Settings, navigate to Plugins, and then type in shortcut, there'll be something called the key prompter X. So what it will do is, as you're working, it will monitor what you're doing and then find out places where you could have used the keyboard shortcut. And you can see it's over here on the side here, and it says here, look, I've missed 4 times that I could have toggled a breakpoint by, and I could press Control F8 to do that. So you can see here, if I click here, that's now gone up to 5 times. So it's monitoring, and then I can come back in here and be like, oh look, I didn't realize there was a keyboard shortcut for settings, which is Control Alt S. See, and that's how you improve. There's also a really good one in here that I've not actually tried out, but it looks really good. It's called Force Shortcuts, which basically disables clicking in PyCharm. So you can only ever navigate around using shortcut. I've not used that yet, but it looks pretty good. The next is not a keyboard shortcut you'll do, but something that you want to run on every save. So I use black as a Python code formatter for me. So whenever I basically finish editing a file, I press Control S for save, and I want black to format that file for me and make it look all nice and pretty. So in order to do this, you need to install a plugin called File Watchers from PyCharm. It's here, I'll leave the link in the description. Click Install to IDE, and that will go and install, and then we'll set it up. Cool, so it says, do you want to install? Click OK. That's going and installing, and then you go File, Settings, down into Tools, and there should be something called File Watchers now. Lovely, we want to click Add, Custom. Let's call this black. File type is Python. Program files we want to, so I've already installed black in my virtual environment, so I just come in here and do black.exe. Okay. Arguments is I want to run it on this file and give it a line length of 120. Again, you want to put file paths on output file paths to refresh, and your working directory should be your project file directory. These are just variables passed in. Go to advanced options. You want to untick this one, because this will just try and change it as you're typing, which isn't very good. So click OK, click Apply, pick OK, and you can see here, if I do this, for example, and then now press Control S, has reformatted that entire file for me. Super useful when you're just churning out code, and then you just press Control S and it just formats it all nicely, and then as you're moving around different repositories, it all looks the same. That is a super useful shortcut. So there is actually a built-in file formatter inside PyCharm already, rather than having to add file watchers, and that's Control Alt Shift L, and that will bring up this reformat whole file. Click Run, and it will try and reformat that whole file. But I don't really like the way how this has just done this. I prefer the black formatting, so that's why I use file watchers and have it done like like this. And then my last keyboard shortcut that will save you lots of time is Alt-Enter, which basically brings up the options in a lot of places in PyCharm. So if you ever see this kind of like yellow squiggly line, what you can do is hit Alt-Enter. It will bring you up a kind of a options menu. So for example, here it's complaining that, you know, that comments need 2 spaces after Python code to adhere to PET. So it's asking me to reformat the file here. I can do that, you know, and it does that for me. Here I've got a variable that I've not declared, so it gives me options to import this name locally, create function, create parameter. So I'm going to create parameter X here, and you know, it just kind of does all that for me. So we can now pass in, this is Hayden. So yeah, that Alt-Enter is really useful. You can do that in classes, you can do that in functions, you can do that anywhere pretty much. You hit Alt-Enter and you can just see what's going on, add annotations, you know, this is a return to type of objects. You can do like doc strings and all sorts of things. It's really, really useful. There we go. There's some examples of lots of useful shortcuts that can help you navigate around PyCharm a lot quicker. Think the amount of time that you will save if you learned all those shortcuts and how much more of a productive developer you'll be, you know, rather than clicking around and doing all these things, you can just navigate with the keyboard. You know, it just improves how much code you can get out, how many times you can commit. Really, really helpful. Try to keep the video really short because I thought shortcuts, you should have a short video to learn all these kind of ways to make your coding career, your coding time shorter. So trying to keep that shorter. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please also subscribe to my channel. There's other videos around Python and kind of web development on my channel. Be sure to check those out. If you have any comments or questions, please do leave them down below. I'll try and respond to you as best as I can, or somebody else will. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope these shortcuts save you time. See you later.